And then the government has gazetted the proposed new codes of good practice. And I've had an opportunity to review the codes comprehensively and looked at that against some of the principles of our procurement strategy. And again, I think that the new codes have a solid foundation. A number of aspects related to the new codes is that the scoring mechanisms it'll be a lot more difficult to achieve the higher scores. So organizations will automatically drop a few levels from where they've been used to in the past, just by virtue of the change in the scoring structure, the thresholds. The suppliers likewise. The suppliers also will drop in their scores. So that'll impact on the procurement scorecards. In terms of the overall, so there were previously 7 areas of measurement. Under the new proposed codes, there are 5 areas of measurement. Ownership remains. Management control now absorbs employment equity and becomes one element of measurement. Skills development, there's certain enhancements to skills development. Procurement and enterprise development are now merged into a new element called enterprise and supplier development, and is given a higher weighting, where previously those two collectively counted 35 points. They now count 40 points on the new scorecard. And then socio-economic development remains as it was in the past. Now, having a look at the overall aspects of the new codes, I think that there perhaps are a number of areas that we need to explore collectively as a body of CPOs. Firstly, I think that the codes are good. So what we need to do and what we need to establish as a body of CPOs is what is the right enabling environment to make sure that we collectively succeed in the delivery of the objectives of those codes. Because that's what's going to deliver a healthy and sustainable small business sector, is going to deliver transformation, is going to result in skills transfer. So what is the right enabling environment? And I think there the SIPs, or a professional body as the representative of the professional body, can play a key role in helping to facilitate and to train and to develop that right enabling environment that we need to give effect to those new codes. Some of the areas of concern that I think that we need to debate is that the new codes talk about only a value-adding supplier as being the supplier that will qualify to be incorporated into the measurement. Now, a value-add supplier is defined as a supplier that is at least his profit and labor counts at least 25% of his turnover. So I understand the principle of value-adding suppliers and the need that only value-add suppliers are incorporated, because that's what drives employment growth, because you need to employ labor to get the right kind of ratio mix. The challenge is that there are a lot of suppliers currently that big business does business with that are not classified as value-add suppliers, and maybe they are just slightly below that threshold. I think the unintended consequence of incorporating only value-add suppliers into the measurement principles is that you will do it at the exclusion of those companies that are maybe rising stars. And one of the recommendations that we want to put forward for discussion via the CPO LinkedIn forum is maybe we should be recommending an approach where, if you're not a value-adding supplier, but you are also a supplier development candidate, that you do qualify to be included in the assessment. Or alternatively, maybe you discount a non-value adding supplier in terms of their level. So instead of them being a level 3 non-value adding supplier, they perhaps are discounted by 1 or 2 levels until they manage to get up to become a fully certified value adding supplier. I think in that way we make sure that we don't exclude the rising stars, and that, I think that is an area for debate. So that'll be posted on LinkedIn. Another area of concern under the proposed new codes is that a micro enterprise, now classified as between 0 and 10 million rand in turnover under the new codes, that they only need to get an empowerment certificate done once, and thereafter annually they just need an accounting officer's letter confirming that their turnover still is below 10 million and confirming their black ownership status. The worry from a CPO perspective is that we might find companies fraudulently misrepresenting themselves post their certificate, in that they claim to have higher black status and they don't. And that catapults them into a higher level of empowerment, but that the chances are that it can go undetected. So the recommendation that we want to put forward is, again, for debate on the LinkedIn forum, is that if a company's ownership status changes and they're a micro enterprise, that they then still need to have a new certificate done. Providing their ownership status remains the same, then they only need that certificate, and then it's just the accounting officer's letter from there on. So that's one of the changes we want to recommend through for consideration. The principle of why government is proposing that you only get a certificate done once is because of the costs associated with that and the affordability level for emerging micro or exempt micro enterprises. And I think if as I've suggested, that the black ownership changes within a period that a new certificate is done. So we need to define a maximum charge that should be charged to emerging micro enterprises for the new certificate to be provided, because all that has to be verified is the ownership credentials, and that should be quite simple for the verification companies to achieve. So that would be my recommendation, is that certain caps need to be put on what is charged to the micro enterprises.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.